Hello, I am psychologist Mira Luenar. As a specialist, I often work with people who have survived domestic violence, and my heart breaks from how deeply it wounds the soul. Today, with the permission of my patient Anna, I want to share her story, a story of pain, tears, and ultimately, triumph. Anna allowed me to tell this because she believes her words can ignite a spark of hope in the hearts of those currently in darkness. I will recount her experience, preserving the essence, but with an emphasis on the psychological aspects we worked through together, because this story is not just facts, but a cry from the soul calling for liberation. Anna came to me with her soul torn to pieces after 3 years in the hell of toxic relationships. Imagine, it all started like a fairy tale. They met at work. He was so charming, so attentive, whispering that she was his one and only in the world. At first, her heart fluttered with joy, flowers, tender compliments, dreams of a shared future. But gradually, this fairy tale turned into a nightmare. He began to control her every step, rummaging through her phone, forbidding meetings with friends, muttering that they poison her soul. If she was even a minute late, an explosion erupted. Screams that tore at the heart, accusations of betrayal that stung deeper than a knife. "You won't go anywhere without me." These words echoed like a sentence, locking her in a cage of fear. Then came the emotional abuse that broke her from within. He constantly humiliated her, hurling poisonous words. "You're worth nothing without me. Who would take someone as pathetic as you?" Anna felt tiny, crushed, like a butterfly under glass. When she tried to defend herself, he might strike. Not hard at first, but that pain pierced right through. "It's because of you, you drove me to this," he would say, and she believed it because her heart was poisoned with guilt. She hid bruises under clothes, forced herself to smile in public, and at home. At home, she sobbed into her pillow at night, feeling life slip away drop by drop. She lost herself. Her smile faded, her body swelled from stress, her soul isolated from the world. 3 years. 3 years of unbearable fear, an ocean of tears and bottomless loneliness, where every day was a battle for survival. But one day, oh God, that turning point happened that saved her. After yet another horrific scandal, when he shoved her so hard she fell to the floor, Anna looked in the mirror and froze in horror. Eyes full of tears, a face devastated by pain. "This isn't life. This is slow death." A cry burst from her soul. She realized that if she stayed, she would simply fade away, like a candle in the wind. In desperation, she threw herself into searching for answers online, reading about abusive relationships, signs of violence, and her heart clenched from the realization, "I'm not alone. Millions of women cry in silence." Then, with trembling hands, she dared to take the first step toward FR. But one day, oh God, that turning point happened that saved her. After yet another horrific scandal, when he shoved her so hard she fell to the floor, Anna looked in the mirror and froze in horror, eyes full of tears, a face devastated by pain. "This isn't life, this is slow death." A cry burst from her soul. She realized that if she stayed, she would simply fade away, like a candle in the wind. In desperation, she threw herself into searching for answers online, reading about abusive relationships, signs of violence, and her heart clenched from the realization, "I'm not alone. Millions of women cry in silence." Then, with trembling hands, she dared to take the first step toward freedom. First, she called the hotline for victims of domestic violence, and there, finally, they listened without judgment, with warmth that melted the ice in her heart. They advised a plan of action, helped her see the light at the end of the tunnel. She secretly gathered documents, some money, hiding from his watchful eye. And then she found me, a psychologist specializing in trauma from abuse. This became her lifeline. We started with regular sessions, initially online to avoid risking her life. In the first meetings, Anna poured out her soul, telling her story through tears, and I helped her unravel that horrific cycle of violence. The cycle of violence is an insidious trap that repeats over and over, breaking the will. The first stage, building tension. Stress accumulates like a storm cloud. The abuser becomes irritable, and the victim, whose heart contracts in fear, tries to avoid the explosion, becoming submissive, trying to calm the monster. The second stage, incident, an outburst of violence, physical or emotional, that tears the soul to shreds, where the abuser establishes absolute control and the victim feels defenseless. The third stage, reconciliation. The abuser apologizes with sweet words, justifies himself with stress or your provocation, using gaslighting, denying reality, shifting blame, making you doubt your own sanity. The fourth stage, calm or honeymoon. Everything seems paradise. The abuser love bombs, gifts, promises of eternity. But it's an illusion because the cycle repeats, and over time the phases of peace shorten. The violence becomes harsher, more unpredictable, leaving deep scars on the soul. Understanding this cycle was like a lightning strike for Anna. She saw that her pain was no accident, but a planned game of power, and tears flowed like a river. But these were tears of purification. We applied cognitive behavioral therapy, learning to recognize triggers that awakened horror, rethinking those poisonous beliefs like, I deserved this pain, or, without him, I'm nothing. For example, in the evidence to the contrary exercise, Anna wrote down a negative thought like, I'm worth nothing, and through tears, searched for 3 real examples from life that disproved it: successes at work, warm words from friends, and her heart gradually filled with warmth. I taught her relaxation techniques to fight the anxiety that choked her, the panic attacks that came at night. We practiced 4-7-8 breathing. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7, exhale for 8, and this calmed the storm in her chest. And in the gratitude journal, Anna wrote 3 things she was grateful for every evening, even little things, like the aroma of coffee or a ray of sunshine, and this reoriented her soul toward light. We worked on self-esteem through self-compassion exercises, setting small goals. Today, I'll do something for myself because I deserve love. Anna's favorite exercise, letter of self-compassion. She wrote to herself as if from her best friend, words of support. You've been through hell, but you're a warrior. You deserve happiness. This helped her see that the abuse wasn't her fault, but his darkness and tears of joy mixed with the pain of liberation. Sessions were weekly, at first heavy like climbing a mountain, but over time, a relief, like shedding chains. Anna restored her connection with a friend who embraced her heart with warmth and provided shelter in the first days of freedom. The exit was horribly difficult. He wouldn't let go, called with threats that tore at her nerves, wrote messages full of manipulation. Anna, with a heart pounding from fear, filed a police report, got a restraining order. It was scary, like jumping into an abyss, but the support from specialists and loved ones became wings. Step by step, a new job, a move, sports that filled her body with strength, books on self-development that nourished her soul. Therapy lasted 8 months, with gradual reduction of sessions, but it saved Anna, not just pulling her from hell, but teaching her to avoid traps, recognizing red flags from the first moments. For example, excessive control like checking the phone or banning friends. Quick declarations of love that seem like a fairy tale but pressure. Constant jealousy that poisons. Humiliation that cuts the heart. Isolation from the world. Guilt manipulations like, you drove me to this. Cyclical rage with apologies. Recognizing this, Anna is now a fortress. Now Anna is free. Her smile shines like the sun after a storm. Friends surround her with warmth. Life blooms. As a psychologist, I cry with joy seeing such a transformation, and I know, love yourself. Don't tolerate violence, because it steals the soul. If you're in darkness, don't be silent. Cry out for help. To a psychologist, hotline, friends. Therapy is an investment in your soul, tools for healing, strength for rebirth. Like simple exercises you can start on your own. You deserve better. You are titans of strength, stronger than you imagine. There is always an exit. Anna emerged from hell, and you will too, with a heart full of hope. If you need it, reach out. I'm here to help.